Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And this week was a little rough. Not anything too significant causing life to be rough, but I've been a little under the weather. I know it probably sounds like it too. So I was trying to wait and see if my voice would get back to its regularly scheduled program, but it hasn't. But with that being said, I had a few days this week where I was like a little up, a little down in just how I felt. Of course, I'm a girl coming into my cycle, right? So nothing unusual but my regular woes. But I did discover that watermelon juice helps. So I've really been in my loving watermelon juice era and loving just watermelon period. So I've been overindulging in watermelon juice. It's so refreshing, it's so hydrating, and I even added some aloe juice to it to kind of help with that. So that's been really good for my tummy and helping alleviate the cramps and just the overall discomfort from being a woman and going through your woman things. But aside from that, I think I'll call this episode Structure and Nurture because I have highly always endorsed the book Parenting Yourself or Growing Up Again, Parenting Yourself While Parenting Your Children. And I'm reading it through the lens of, post therapy. I'm in between therapists, insurance changes, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But I'm on the chapter where it talks about the difference between structure and nurture. And that structure and nurture for a child promotes growth. And that as an adult, we need structure and nurture if we didn't get it when we were children. And I wanted to bring this to the forefront when I think about my children and where we are. And so, having talks with friends and just other parents in general about summer and how, their children aren't getting enough sleep and they're going to have to restructure them. But for me, I never deviated from the structure that we had, which for me works because it allows me enough me time and reduces some of the mental load that comes with if they stay up. I feel like I have to stay up in order to make sure that they go to bed on time, right? So to alleviate some of that, yes, during school, bedtime is 8:30. I don't care how old you are, bedtime should be 8:30. Get your rest in because you got to get up early and then have enough rest to be productive or do whatever throughout the day. Lack of sleep does affect your cognitive abilities. So now that it's the summer, I have moved bedtime to 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock, but 9:30 for the most part. And I also do not need you getting up super early. Get up at 10 o'clock. Why are you getting up like you have a job to be on? So get up at 10 o'clock. So I never deviated from structure. Excuse me. And then the part of nurture I want to also add is that my ability to make sure that, all of their needs are met, social, emotional, um, developmental, physical, and all of those things are being met. So at the top of the year, and I want to say closer to the end of last year, my daughter has really been in her research bag as far as wanting to be an oceanographer. She really loves animals. She even said if she had to do like something quick, she would become a vet tech, which they make pretty decent money. And as an advocate for getting a vocation, that was right up my alley, and I already have the connections for her to go to school to become a vet tech. But in the meantime and in between time, let's say she can become a vet tech throughout her high school years through some sort of dual enrollment, and then we turn around and then she gets accepted to a school. Of course, I'm a proponent for saving money, so it's going to be in-state tuition. Let's look at, the schools that have the oceanography program and things like that. So we're really talking big moves here, college. And in the terms of nurture, she has already mentioned a number of times that she wants to be an oceanographer. And if you've listened to previous episodes, we did go through some issues with her being in the hospital for her shoulder, a gymnastics injury, and, that was really rough at the top of the year. But every time a doctor would ask her what she wanted to be, she would say an oceanographer. And they would ask her the follow-up question, do you know how to swim? And she would say no. And so guess what? As part of her physical therapy, she took swimming lessons. And during those swimming lessons, come to find out she's a really great swimmer, that the swim instructor, head of the swim department, gave us some recommendations on where she can go to join a swim team. Because she was like, she's done gymnastics. She got injured from gymnastics. let's look at swimming, because swimming will be a lot less intense, a lot less impactful on her body, but also she has really great form. I know she has great form because she had great form as a gymnast. And if you don't know any gymnasts, I'll be the first to tell you, as a mom of a gymnast, if they can do gymnastics, they can do anything. So nurturing her ability to be an oceanographer meant getting her swim lessons. And this past weekend, the wildlife conservationist had a workshop, and so I signed her up for the workshop, and she went and she did really great. She even talked to the director of volunteer services afterwards to find out how she can volunteer. She has a couple more years. She has to be 16. But I was able to connect them with my children's school so that they can be able to offer them opportunities and other workshops and things like that. But this book, reading it from the lens of after you get therapy, it's one thing that when my therapist recommended it like almost 3 years ago, my very first therapist recommended it 3 years ago. He's like, you seem like you like research. You seem like you like to be, you're a lifelong learner. So read this book. And when I was reading it then, I felt so set back. I was a little taken aback when I initially started reading the book because I was like, dang, I missed out on a lot of parenting myself. How do I get to a place where I can parent myself while parenting my children? And over the course of time, you deviate from reading the book, but you go through therapy, you learn new coping skills, you learn new mechanisms, you learn new ways to, if you listen to my previous episode about the nervous system, you learn new ways to trigger your nervous system to think happy, right? You learn new ways for your nervous system to not be in this scared and flight mode, and you learn new ways for your nervous system to be more calm, more at ease. So being in that place now, I'm reading the book and I'm realizing, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm in the nurture and structure phase of my children's lives, and I'm continuing on that path. For example, my son really loves seafood, and he really is just into uh, a plethora of things. So for his birthday, we are going to New Orleans, and he wants to try everything. I mean, so I've put together an ultimate itinerary, which I have to give to him to look through so that he can say, yes, he wants to do this. No, he doesn't want to do that. But he's into planets, and my goal for him, I should say, or something that I am nurturing him into, is to be into astronomy, and stars and planets, because, planets is something that he does like, but he's also really good at science, and he's also really good at math. And so I talk to him about things like engineering, right? And just being able to nurture those things. And then with structure, because structure is the bones, nurture is the personality. This is how the book explains it. And so with structure and nurture, you have growth. And it's just amazing to see, where my children are, where I'm at, and how right now there's a trend on TikTok, and it's like show you from 2021 to 2024, and how in 2021 I had just had surgery at the top of 2021. I had the hernia surgery, tummy tuck situation. You can see that over on YouTube. I'll see if I can link it in this episode. But I went through that, and I'll say over here, which I didn't say over there, is that life was so tumultuous when I decided to get surgery, because originally I was supposed to get surgery December 2020, and it got pushed to March 2021. And getting surgery during that time of my life, it was so bad, right? Life just was not ideal for somebody to get an elective surgery. And I prayed so much, and my anxiety was so high, so much so that it was showing up in my skin. I would break out in hives, and everything was just so bad. I was, still with my kid's father. He was in the home, but he was like no help. Just things were so not so good. And so when I can see now where I'm at in life, how things are just consistently working out for me. Like it was like back then they would work out for me, but not but with so much strife. They would work out for me, but with so much strife. And now they work out for me, and it's just so ease, right? It's so at ease. And retraining my nervous system means like when I'm faced with some sort of adversity, I don't panic first. And I have to find new ways of when I am faced with something that might seem like it's an adversity, how can I not look at it as an adversity, but an opportunity to triumph, right? And this is where, if you don't get the nurture, you might have gotten structure. Like for me, I think I had structure, but not anything that my mom or my parents created, my mom and my stepdad created. I had to create my own structure. And I saw a post on Facebook, locally here to us, where a young woman who has 3 kids, she had to work overnight, left the kids home, and now she's in jail. And I shared that post, and I was like, she doesn't need jail, she needs resources. And it made me think about how that could have been me and my brother, and me and my brothers once my mom had my youngest brother. But that could have been us, right? Because my mom worked always a couple of jobs. My mom left us home. A lot of times we would get up and get ourselves ready for school, me being the oldest, getting us up and getting us ready for school and leaving to go catch the bus, the public transportation at that, to get to school and then come home. And my mom wasn't home. She was on her other job. And, making a little dinner, a little Chef Boyardee or something. And it's like, wow, all it would have taken was somebody to notice that we were in and out that house by ourselves to call the police on us. Now, granted, that young lady's situation was a lot different. One of the kids, the youngest one, was out walking with the dog and somebody called the police. But again, that could happen to any of us as adults. That could happen to any of us with our children. And it's just it makes me sad sometimes to see when those things happen. And I'm just such in a different place, where I don't have to, uh, leave my children home by themselves, no matter how old they get. And to be quite honest with you, they're at an age where they don't like to be home by themselves because they were left home by themselves unbeknownst to me at such a young age. And they used to be, well, my daughter specifically used to be afraid. But that is a consequence of what happens, with their dad. So it's like there's some undoing that I'm still working on with them, continuing therapy, getting them evaluated, just so I can be able to give them all of the tools that they need, because there has to be structure and I have to nurture. And so in doing that and being able to do it from a place of healing is so significant for me. It really is. It's so significant for me because I used to feel like I was fighting a losing battle when I was parenting with their dad. And so being the primary parent, being the solo parent, being the parent that is creating all of this structure, all of this nurture, so that one day when they do have to see him, they will be so strong in who they are that they can't be broken by this person who has not done the work to heal themselves. But in all of that, if something was said that encouraged you, I ask that you share this episode with at least one person. Remember, you can tune into Black Girl Say Something every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you listen to podcasts. And I'll leave some links because I need you to subscribe to our YouTube, where we post an episode the last Friday of every month, as well as we have some subscriber-only content dropping this week. So become a subscriber. I believe it's like right now at a discount. It's 99 cents a month. You have access to subscriber-only content because this girl has been going on dates. And I got to tell y'all the tea over there. This Black girl has even more to say over there. Um, and just make sure you tune in. And I thank all of those who support me, all of the DMs, all of the messages, and all of the checking up that happens when an episode doesn't drop on a Friday. Listen, I really have some supporters, and I am so appreciative of each and every one of you all. But yeah, this week, a little cold bug got to me, and it really it had me up and down. One day I was feeling good, and then I was down for 2 days, and then I felt better. And when I thought I felt better, I got some things done, and then I didn't feel good again. And then now I'm on my cycle. So, I'm just a girl. But anywho, thank you for listening.